If you struggle with depression or anxiety for any long amount of time, you need to prepare yourself for the fact that at some point, some people, if not all people, will eventually, in some capacity, get tired of the fact that you're still depressed. And I want to talk about that today real quick. My name is Noah, and for all intents and purposes, you just need to know that I'm someone who's dealt with clinical depression, anxiety, depersonalization, suicidality. My accolades, if you will, they're in the description below if you want to read them. People reach out to me all the time, and they have like abandonment issues in their depression. Friends, family, loved ones. Why they all eventually kind of need space from your suffering. At some point, everyone needs you to be better, and when you're the one who's sick, it hurts so bad when you start to feel like they're distancing themselves from you. It starts to sting your soul, your already numb state of being. It just, for some people, I feel like it's the last straw, because nobody wants to get better. No one knows how long they've been depressed more than the person who's been depressed. And I think for so many of the unaware that are in situations with people they love whom are depressed and anxious, I think they don't even realize that they're being bled dry by the person who's depressed. Listen, I'm speaking directly to the person who's watching this video who struggles with mood disorders. I need you to not take this personal, because I don't take it personal about myself when I'm depressed, but we are exhausting. We are exhausting to people who are mentally healthy and trying to support us. And to that effect, if you can acknowledge that and understand that, it's exactly why we need a team of people. It takes a village when it comes to mood disorders, and one of the saddest things I've learned from having this channel is that a lot of people don't have support. I firmly believe, I believe this to my core, if you reach out your hand and say you need help, in general, I don't know which way your hand is going, but if you reach it out and you ask for help, help will come. One thing that I wasn't able to understand until after I got better was that when I got depressed, I really did wipe out all these people who suddenly were in charge of trying to look after me, because I was so full-time, and if you deal with mood disorders, there's no days off. You're hurting all day, every day, and eventually people need you to just be okay, because they're tired too, and they don't know what to do with you, and I think that's one of the biggest things, is that people don't know what to do with you. Oftentimes, we don't prep ourselves for what happens when there's a mental health crisis in our lives or in the lives of someone we care about, so we learn on the fly. You have to understand, even though it's really tough, you have to understand that you're going to need multiple people to help keep you afloat, because no one person can handle another person's severe clinical depression. You get what's called caregiver burnout. The depressed person knows they're still depressed. They know they still feel hopeless, and they know how long it's been, and they want nothing more than to tell you they feel good. They feel great when you ask them how they are. It's a dangerous, slippery slope when the person who's suffering long-term no longer feels like they can tell people that they're still suffering because they don't want to inconvenience anyone. When we start going there, when we start lying about those things because we feel pressure and we don't want people to turn away from us and we don't want people to be overwhelmed by us or put off, I feel like that's when you end up hearing sad stories of people who don't make it. You hear the interview the next day on the news. Oh, I thought so-and-so was fine. I spoke to him last night. He said he was doing good. A lot of time it's because that person can't handle telling you they're not doing good anymore. Part of it's stigma. Part of it's just the nature and the insidiousness of the illness. It's really important that the depressed person still have the ability to say he's still depressed. I just want you to remember that every time you have a cold, or every time you have the flu, or every time you have just a death grip fever, everyone's empathetic, sympathetic, and vocal. People love on you, and they support you, and they feel bad for you, and that's comforting when you're really sick. Well, when you're depressed, it feels like you've got a never-ending flu. If you can only imagine what it's like to hold on to a flu for a few months or a year, that's what it feels like to be depressed. It manifests itself physically and mentally. There's not the same natural show of love and support because we just don't understand. For my people that battle mood disorders, your responsibility is to control what you can. Your responsibility is to reach out and build a network of support team, an online support team, friendship support team, mental health provider support team, physical health support team. Just, you have to build safety nets everywhere, because as a group, people can hang in there with you as long as they're not trying to take on too much on their own. And here's one of the biggest things that stresses people out who are close to you. It stresses people out when we don't do the things we're supposed to be doing to get better. When we do things to make things worse, and then we complain and we talk about how much we're suffering. You know, that's a whole different video, but I know that's one of the things that turns people away from people that are depressed, is like, you know, I know this person struggles with depression, you're there for them, you care for them, but then you know for a fact that they're not working hard on getting better, and they're doing the same old things. And, you know, depression, it requires action. Anxiety, it requires action. It requires daily action. So your job is to control what you can, continue to learn about your condition, and put forth even the most minuscule steps, put forth every day, and then try to forgive the people that just don't understand what you're going through. Remember a time in your life when you weren't depressed, and try to understand that back then you couldn't have imagined this either. And so there's no rules for how people will respond. The stronger mentally and emotionally people will show themselves, and the less prepared ones might come across as unloving and uncaring. And, you know, I believe in my heart, from a lot of the amends that people have made to me, and amends I've made, you know, to people since I was depressed. A lot of people just don't know any better until they know. You know, I know my wife Jessie will do a million times better the next time if I happen to get severely depressed again. I know she'll be able to handle it. She said that to me. Look, I learned a lot. I can handle it this time. You know, we know what to do. My mom, the same thing. My dad, the same thing. My friends and family, the same thing. Everyone's learning. Everyone's trying to figure it out. Anyone who's got someone they love, I believe that you have what it takes to be there for that person in some capacity. I hope you can figure out what your limits are, and keep chipping away. You know, as inconvenient as it might feel for you that this person is depressed, you can never imagine how much it means to anyone who's depressed for you to just try. Even a phone call once every couple of weeks means a lot, or visiting with them once every couple of weeks or something like that. And for the depressed person, just do some of those things I mentioned. Be brave, hang in there 1 minute, one day, 1 hour, 1 minute at a time. And try to be gentle with the people that don't know what to do with your depression. And really, really lock into the people that do, and build that support network. We'll see you guys in the next video. Stay brave out there, guys.